Hello everyone. Now this is continuation of the previous lecture in which we have gone through the basic terminology involved in electrochemistry. Now there we have discussed the galvanic cell, the construction of a galvanic cell, what are the different components of a galvanic cell. Now the question is, each and every time it's not possible to draw the galvanic cell. So instead of doing the galvanic cell, now we are going to represent a galvanic cell on a paper. So that is the representation of a galvanic cell. So let's start with a representation of a cell. Now first of all, there are some important things that we have to keep in mind, and that important thing is, and this is a convention that we have to follow while writing or showing the cell on a paper. The first thing, now look at this cell consists of a cathode and anode. These are two electrodes. So by convention, anode is always written on the left hand side and cathode is on right hand side. Anode, left hand electrode, cathode is right hand electrodes. So whenever we represent a cell, anode should be written on left hand side, cathode should be written on right hand side. Second thing that we have to keep in mind is, now this cathode and anode is connected through a salt bridge. So now we have to represent the salt bridge also. Salt bridge is denoted by a double vertical line. So this double vertical line represents a salt bridge between cathode and anode. Now in each electrode we have a metal rod which is dipped in an aqueous solution of the same metal. So we have a metal rod that is solid which is dipped in aqueous solution of a salt of the same metal. So we have a solution. So there is a phase boundary between solid and solution. So phase separation between metal rod and electrolyte in an electrode. So this is represented by a single vertical line. So this single vertical line represents a phase boundary between solid metal rod and is the aqueous solution of the salt of the same metal. Then now look at this. While representing a cell, the solution, aqueous solution. So we have a metal ion, salt of metal ion which is present in aqueous solution. If we have a metal ion, so the concentration of this metal ion should always be written in bracket. Or if we have certain gas, then the partial pressure of the gas should also be written. Concentration or partial pressures. Are in first bracket or in parenthesis. So these concentration or partial pressure should also be mentioned while representing the cell. Now anode is where oxidation reduction takes place. Cathode is where reduction reaction takes place. So while representing this anode, cell should be written in such a way that the reduced form to oxidized form. So this simply saying this, look at it, anode is where oxidation reduction takes place. So reduced form should be written first followed by oxidized form. Whereas in cathode, so cathode is where reduction reaction takes place. So while writing this cathode, the form should be oxidized form, reduced form. So these few things that we have to keep in mind, and once we represent this cell, from this cell we should be able to predict what is anode, what is cathode, what is oxidized form, what is reduced form, what is the individual reaction that is taking place at anode and cathode, and what is the overall cell reaction. Now we'll use this concept to define represent a cell. So let's take this case. Take this case, Daniell cell. Now we have, look at this. The cell reaction is, look at this, Zn solid plus cupric ion aqueous solution changing into copper solid plus zinc aqueous solution. So this is a cell reaction. Now for this cell reaction we have to identify what is anode, what is cathode, and how to represent this cell. Now before this, now let's identify what is the change that is taking place. Now look at this. Before reaction, zinc was 0 oxidation state. After reaction, changes to +2. So this zinc is changing from 0 to +2. So we say this is oxidation. Now while discussing this cell, I have mentioned you earlier a number of times. Anode is where oxidation reaction takes place. So this oxidation reaction, zinc 0 to +2, this must be taking place at anode. So this is anode where oxidation reaction takes place. The other side, look at this, copper is changing from +2 to 0. So this is what equals reduction. So reduction takes place at cathode. So we know what is anode and what is cathode. Now following this convention, in between this cathode and anode there is a salt bridge. So we represent this by salt bridge. This is salt bridge. Now on right hand side of salt bridge we have to write cathode, on left side that is anode. So now look at this. This is anode. So anode should be written from reduced form to oxidized form. So reduced form is zinc in contact with zinc +2. If suppose the concentration of zinc is C1 molar, so this is the concentration. So now look at this, reduced form to oxidized form. Now right hand side is cathode. Cathode should be written as oxidized form to reduced form. So look at this, this is cathode, this is oxidized form, this is reduced form. So copper +2 is changing into 0. So this must be written as copper +2 aqueous solution. Let's suppose this concentration is C2M in contact with copper solid. So this is the cell. So this represents a salt bridge, phase separation, left hand electrode anode, right hand electrode cathode. This is what we call as cell. Now from this cell we have to identify the individual cell reactions. Let's see how to write cell reactions. Cell reaction. Now we have anode. So anode, look at this is anode, oxidation. Now look at this. Anode is zinc is oxidized to zinc +2. So anodic reaction is zinc solid oxidized to give you aqueous solution. So 0, 2 plus 2, how many electrons are released? 2 electrons. Now cathode is why reduction reaction takes place. If you look at this, copper is changing from plus 2 to 0, so therefore reduction reaction is copper plus 2 aqueous solution takes up 2 electron which was released by zinc electrode, and now this is converted into copper solid. So this is individual reaction which is taking place at anode and cathode. Now in this case, now look at this, number of electrons is same. If number of electron is not same, we have to balance the reaction. That means in a redox reaction, the number of electrons involved in oxidation and reduction should be exactly identical. Now adding these two net reaction, if we add these two reaction, that is net cell reaction, we have this. So now look at this, we have zinc solid plus copper plus 2 aqueous. Now these two electron and these two electron will cancel out. So we have left with zinc plus 2 aqueous plus copper solid. So this is how we represent cell, and from the cell reaction also we can define anodic half cell reaction, cathodic half cell reaction. From the cell reaction we can develop cell, and from this cell we can define what is anodic half cell reaction, what is cathodic half cell reaction. Or if already cell is mentioned to you, then from this cell we can define what is the cell reaction also. Now if this is the cell, when this is connected through a salt base, there must be some potential difference developed, and that potential difference developed is what we call as cell potential. So the cell potential for this reaction is cell net cell potential. This is what we call as reduction potential of cathode minus reduction potential of anode. So I repeat, I have mentioned you earlier, cell potential is reduction potential of cathode minus reduction potential of anode. Now this is defined in terms of reduction potential. So reduction potential, now look at this cathode. Cathode is where reduction reaction takes place, so this is reduction. So this can also be written as copper plus 2 to copper. Why I am showing this? Because in many of the books, instead of this, you may be given this values. So this shows copper plus 2 is changing into copper, and this is solution, this is solid. In between this we have a phase boundary, that is here. So this represents reduction potential of cathode minus reduction potential of anode. Anode is, this is anode. So reduction means zinc plus 2 to zinc. So if the values of these are given to you, we can easily define what is the cell potential. Now sometimes oxidation potentials are given, so instead of this reduction potential we can also define in terms of oxidation potential. So oxidation potential and reduction potential of the same electrodes are having same numerical value, but sign will be opposite. So this is how we write cell. So for this we need to have this reduction potential of cathode and reduction potential of anode. So this is one of the examples how to represent a cell. Now let's take this another example. Now we have a cell reaction Mg solid plus Mg2 plus 2 Ag. Now suppose this is a cell reaction. For this cell reaction we have to develop the cell. So Mg is from 0 to plus 2, Ag from plus 1 to 0. So now look at this, 0 to plus 2. So this is oxidation, so this must be anode. Ag changing from plus 1 to 0. This is reduction, so this must be cathode. So the cell will be, so look at this, we have anode. Anode should be written on left hand side. So look at this, anode, reduced form, that is magnesium, in contact with magnesium and aqueous solution. Let's suppose this concentration is C1 molar. So this is anode. Then we have salt base. Then we have cathode. So cathode is reduced form to, oxidized form to reduced form. So we have, look at this, Ag plus aqueous solution. Let's suppose concentration is C2 molar in contact with Ag solid. So this is anode, this is cathode. Now for this cell reaction, let's write down the cell reaction. The individual reaction that is taking place at cathode and anode. So anode is, look at this, Mg2, Mg plus 2, Mg solid getting oxidized to Mg plus 2 electron is to be released. Cathode, so we have Ag plus will take up 1 electron and is converted into Ag solid. Now look at this, in anode 2 electron is released, so these 2 electron must be taken up by cathode. So to make it 2, we multiply this equation by 2. So therefore the net reaction is, we have Mg solid plus 2 Ag plus gives you Mg plus 2 Ag solid. So this is the cell reaction, and the reduction potential or the cell potential for this reaction is reduction potential of cathode minus reduction potential of anode. And now cathode is Ag plus 2 Ag, so we write down as Ag plus 2 Ag, that is reduction potential of cathode, minus anode. Anode is Mg to Mg plus 2, reduction is Mg plus 2 to Mg. So this is the reduction potential of cathode and anode, and this is the cell potential. So this is another example of representation of cell. Let's take one more example here. Let's take this example. So suppose we have this cell. Now for this cell we have to represent the cell reaction, cell, and I have to write down E cell. So copper is changing from 0 to plus 2, silver from plus 1 to 0. So therefore this 0 to plus 2, this is oxidation, so this must be anode, plus 1 to 0, this is reduction, so reduction must be at cathode. So we have anode and cathode, so we have to write down the cell. Cell is anode, so we have copper in contact with cupric, and suppose concentration is C1 molar, this is salt base. Then we have reduction, that is Ag plus, suppose concentration is C2 molar in contact with Ag. So we have this cell. Once we have this cell, now let's try to write down the individual cell reaction. Suppose anodic half cell reaction. So anode is oxidation. So we have this oxidation, copper solid getting oxidized to cupric ion aqueous solution plus 2 electron is released. We have cathode. So cathode is this. So we have silver ion aqueous solution gaining 1 electron and is reduced to silver solid. Now oxidation involves 2 electrons, so reduction must also involve 2 electrons. So to make it 2, we have to multiply this by 2. So adding these two, we have this net cell reaction. So net reaction is copper solid plus 2 Ag and gives you copper aqueous solution plus 2 Ag solid. So this is net cell reactions. Once we have this net cell reaction, we can write down the cell potential. So E cell of this reaction cell is reduction potential of cathode minus reduction potential of anode. So reduction potential of cathode, this is the cathode. So E Ag plus 2 Ag minus reduction potential of anode is copper plus 2 to copper. So this is the cell potential. So next, after this representation, how to write cell and how to write individual cell reaction. Now the question informs this, how to define this cell potential, means mathematically how we have to define the potential of a given electrodes. Now the next part that we are going to take up is how to calculate the cell potential of a given cell, that is the EMF of a cell. Now the calculation of EMF of a cell is done by an equation which is known as Nernst equation. So basically, let me define what is Nernst equation. So Nernst equation is a mathematical relationship which shows the variation of the cell potential with the concentration of the electrolytes at a given temperatures. So how this potential varies with concentration of electrolytes at a given temperature. So that equation is known as Nernst equations. Now let's suppose we have a cell reaction. Suppose we have a cell reaction. M moles of A combines with N moles of B, and this gives you P moles of C plus Q moles of D. Suppose this is a balanced reaction, a redox reaction. Suppose this is balanced redox reaction, and for this redox reaction we have to write down the cell potential, that is Nernst equations. So Nernst says these, for this cell reaction, what is N, N, P, Q, these are the stoichiometric coefficients of A, B, C, D in the balanced chemical equation. That means to write down this Nernst equation, the redox reaction should be well balanced. Now why this is to be well balanced? Because the number of electrons in each component should be same. That means oxidation half and reduction half, the number of moles of electron involved should be same. So now look at this. So according to this Nernst equation, the cell potential E cell of a cell is equals to E naught cell minus RT by NF ln concentration of C raised to the power coefficient P into concentration of D raised to the power coefficient Q divided by concentration of A raised to the power coefficient M into concentration of D raised to the power is coefficient N. So R is a gas constant. Let me write down this. R, gas constant. This is 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole, and number of moles of electron involved in redox reaction. F is known as Faraday constant, which is equals to 96500 Coulomb. Now this Faraday constant is nothing but the charge on 1 mole of electron. Charge of 1 mole electron. Total charge on 1 mole of electron is known as 1 Faraday. This is 96500 Coulomb. This E naught, this is known as standard cell potential. So standard condition is, what is standard condition? Concentration of electrolyte should be taken as 1 molar. If gas, then partial pressure should be taken as 1 atm. Temperature is 298 Kelvin. So the potential difference developed when the concentration of electrolytes are 1 molar, and if gas, then pressure is at 1 atm and temperature is 298. So under this condition, the potential difference developed is known as standard cell potential. So this standard cell potential is also equals to standard reduction potential of cathode minus standard reduction potential of anode. This is standard cell potential under standard condition. So standard condition is concentration 1 molar, pressure 1 atm, temperature 298. Now one thing that we have to keep in mind is, while writing this Nernst equation, so I look at this, E cell is E naught minus RT by NF ln. Ln is natural logarithm. This is concentration of the products raised to the power stoichiometric coefficient divided by the product of concentration of reactants raised to the power with that stoichiometric coefficient. So first, to write down this equation, we need to have the net cell reaction. This is the cell reaction. So before writing this Nernst equation, we need to have a balanced cell reaction. Now one thing that we have to keep in mind while writing this cell reaction is, if the cell reaction involves pure solid or pure liquids, then the concentration of pure solids and pure liquids does not change appreciably. So we ignore the concentration of pure solids and pure liquids. We include only those components whose concentration varies with time. So now look at this. So therefore, this can also be modified as E naught cell minus, now we replace this natural logarithm by with log 10. So 2.303 RT by NF logarithm of concentration of C raised to the power P into concentration of D raised to the power Q divided by concentration of A raised to the power M, B raised to the power N. So this is equation. Now at room temperature condition, that means at 298 Kelvin, the equation can be written as E naught cell minus 0.059 divided by N log concentration of C raised to the power P, D raised to the power Q divided by A raised to the power M into B raised to the power N. So now this is at room temperature condition, T is equals to 298 Kelvin. So 2.303 RT by F. So R is a constant, 8.314. T is a 298 Kelvin. F is a constant. So we have this Faraday constant. So this value is equals to 0.059. So if simply question says 298 Kelvin, so we can replace this 2.303 RT by F in terms of 0.059 values. So this is equation. So now if you look at this equation very carefully, this is the concentration of product, this is concentration of reactant. Now look at this, this E naught cell concentration is maintained at 1 molar if gases partial pressure is maintained at 1 atm. So this E naught cell is independent of concentration. Its value does not change with concentration, whereas the cell potential E cell varies with concentration. So this E naught is independent of concentration, but this E cell depends on concentration. So if you look at this, if this term, the log of this value, if this value is increased, then this negative value will increase, so difference will become less, E cell will decrease. If we decrease this value, we are decreasing this value, so this difference will increase, E cell will increase. So now look at this, increasing the concentration of product without changing this reactant. So we are increasing the concentration of product, reactant remaining unchanged. So we are increasing this value, E cell will decrease. If we increase the concentration of reactants without changing the concentration of product, means we are increasing denominator. So increasing denominator, this value will decrease. If this value decreases, this difference will increase, cell potential will increase. So ultimately look at this variation of cell potential depends on this value. So considering this equation, we can write down this graphically, we can show this. Now if this value, this is a log of concentration of C raised to the power P, concentration of D raised to the power Q divided by concentration of A raised to the power M into concentration of B raised to the power N. This is 0 below, this is positive, this is negative. Now if this value is 0, to E cell is equals to E naught. So we have this E naught. If this value is increased, so this negative term increases, so this difference is decreased, E cell will decrease. So increasing the value of this log value, cell potential will decrease. Now if suppose this value is decreased, then this difference will increase, cell potential will increase. But if suppose this value comes out to be negative, then this becomes positive. So this become negative means this ratio is less than 1. If this ratio is less than 1 means this value denominator should be greater than. So this is the variation of this with this log of this concentration. So ultimately look at this. A case will come if we keep on increasing this value. A stage will come where this E naught will be equal to this value, and then difference will comes out to be 0. This particular value, this is what we call as E naught cell. So this is the variation, or this is E cell. So E cell versus the log of concentration. So this is how the cell potential varies with concentration. So we have to be very careful while expressing the cell potential with this concentration. So this is what we call as Nernst equation. So while solving problems, we have to use this logarithm equation, because all the logarithm values are mentioned for this log base 10. So if question is given in this form, so please convert this into this form. So this is what we call as Nernst equation. And now look at this. If these concentrations are given to you and standard cell potentials are given to you, then we can easily define this cell. So this is how to write Nernst equation from a given cell reaction. So now let's try to write out Nernst equation for some standard cells. So for this I have to rub this. So let's take this cell, Daniell cell, zinc solid, zinc 2 plus ion, suppose this is the cell. Now net cell reaction is this is anode, this is cathode. So cell reaction is zinc solid plus copper plus 2, giving you zinc plus 2 plus copper. So moving from zinc 02 plus 2, we have 2 moles of electron, plus copper plus 2 20, again we have 2 moles of electrons. So therefore number of moles of electron involved in this redox reaction is 2. So therefore Nernst equation for this is E cell is equals to E naught cell minus 2.303 RT by N. N is 2 here, so 2F log of, this is the product, this is reactant. If you look at this is solid, this is also solid. So the solid components or the pure liquids concentration does not vary with time, so their concentration should be ignored while writing the Nernst equation. So what is left is concentration of zinc plus 2 divided by concentration of copper plus 2. So if the concentration of zinc and copper ions are given, we can easily define this cell potential, provided this E naught is given to you. So under room temperature condition, this can be written as E naught cell minus 0.059 divided by 2, this is N, logarithm of concentration of zinc plus 2 divided by concentration of copper plus 2. This is how we write down Nernst equation. So for this, the concentration of this will be given to you. Take the second cell that we have just shown earlier. Magnesium solid, magnesium plus 2 in contact with silver ion. Silver solid. Cell reaction is so we have magnesium solid plus 2Ag plus, giving you magnesium plus 2 plus 2Ag. Now magnesium, we have 2 moles of electron, silver 120, so 2 into 1, again we have 2 moles of electrons. So therefore N for this reaction is 2. So Nernst equation, that is E cell is equals to E naught cell minus 2.303 RT by N is 2. So we have 2F log. Look at this, this is solid, this is also solid, we have to exclude this. So this is concentration of magnesium plus 2 divided by concentration of Ag plus, coefficient is 2, so raised to the power 2. If this is at room temperature condition, we can replace this value as E naught cell minus 0.059 divided by 2 log of concentration of magnesium plus divided by concentration of Ag plus square. This is the Nernst equation. How to write Nernst equation? Now let's try to write down the Nernst equation for this cell reaction. So we have a cell reaction. So Nernst equation will be E cell equals to E naught cell minus, now 2.303 RT by N. Now let's define N. So chromium is changing from 0 to plus 3. There are 2 more, so 3 into 2, 6. On the other side, look at this, cadmium is changing from plus 2 to 0, 2, so 2 into 3, 6. So that is 6 moles of electron is involved into Faraday constant log. This is solid, this is solid. So we are left with concentration of chromium plus 3 square divided by concentration of cadmium plus 2 cube. This is Nernst equation. Similarly, let's write down this. So we have iron plus T plus Ag plus changing into iron plus 2 plus Ag solid. So make it this is iron plus 2 to iron plus 3. So we have this net reaction. Now iron plus 2 to plus 3, we have 1 mole of electron. Silver plus 1 to 0, again we have 1 mole of electron. So therefore Nernst equation is E cell is equals to E naught cell minus 2.303 RT by number of moles of electron involved is 1 into Faraday constant F log. This is solid, so we have to ignore this. Concentration of Fe plus 3 divided by concentration of Fe plus 2 into concentration of Ag plus. This is the Nernst equation. If this is at room temperature condition, so we can replace this by 0.059. So this is how we write down Nernst equation from a balanced cell. Or if the cell is given, then we have to derive cell reaction, or if cell reaction is given already, then we don't have to write the cell. So just from this cell reaction, we have to write down the Nernst equation. So this shows how the cell potential of a given cell vary with the concentration of electrolytic species present in the cell at a given temperature. So this is what we call as Nernst equation. Now let's look at this cell. Now in this cell we have, look at this, the reduction part, cathode is cupric ion to copper. Oxidation part, we have, look at this, hydrogen gas in contact with H plus ion. Now whenever we have this hydrogen or any gas which is involved in electron reaction, now this gas and solution cannot be placed in the same container, means cannot be in contact with each other. So now if the gas and solution are not in contact with each other, so no chemical reaction takes place. So whenever we have gas in any electrode, now to make this gas and solution electrically contact, we always use a inert electrode. So this inert electrode, this is inert electrode. Why this is known as inert electrode means, if the electrode reaction involves a gas, always we have to use an inert electrode like platinum, gold, etc. we have to use. Why this is to be inert electrode? The use of this inert electrode should not involve in electron reaction. This inert material that we use should not involve in electrode reaction or should not react with any of the electrolytes present in the solution. Now the purpose of this inert electrode, the purpose is, first is to make electrical contact between the gas and solid. To make electrical contact between gas and solution. So without the use of this inert electrode, there cannot be electrical contact. So electrical contact is very much required for this electrode reaction to take place. So whenever we have gas, this inert electrode should always be used. Second, the surface of this inert electrode provides the surface for electron reaction. Provide its surface for conduction of electrons. So this is the reason why we have to use an inert electrode. First, to make electrical contact between the gas and solution, and the surface of this inert electrode is used for conduction of electrons. So if there is no conduction of electrons, the cell will not stop, no current flows. So to make this conduction of electron, this inert metal provides its surface. So suppose, look at this, we have this. So this is where anode, this is where cathode. So we have this anode and cathode. So first we'll have to write down the cell reaction. So anode is oxidation. So we have anode, hydrogen gas gives you 2H plus ion. So changing from 0 to plus 1. So we have 2 electron is released here. On the other side we have cathode. Cathode is, look at this, we have cupric ion, aqueous solution takes up 2 electron and is converted into copper solid. So now look at this, we have 2 electrons in oxidation, 2 electrons in reduction. So therefore N equals to 2 here. So reaction is, we have hydrogen gas plus cupric ion aqueous solution gives you 2H plus ion plus copper solid. So this is the net cell reaction. From this we have to write down E cell. So E cell is E naught cell minus 2.303 RT divided by NF. So N is a 2 log of, look at this, this is solid, this is solution. So we have concentration of H plus ion squared divided by concentration of copper plus 2. Now look at this, the partial pressure of hydrogen is mentioned as 1 bar, so we don't have to write down. If the partial pressure is any values other than 1 bar, then we have to write down here into partial pressure of hydrogen. So here partial pressure of hydrogen is 1, we have to use the value of 1. So this is how we write for gas. So why I am introducing this point, because gases may we have to use inert gas, and what is the purpose of this inert gas? Why only inert gas? Because these metals should not involve in chemical reaction or should not involve with any of the species present in electrolyte. First, this makes electrical contact between gas and solution and provides a surface for conduction of electrons. And this is how we write down the cell potential or Nernst equation. Now next we'll discuss how to determine the standard electrode potential of any electrode. Now look at this, we can simply define the cell potential. Means in this cell we have a cathode anode. After this combination we can have the cell potential. We can define the cell potential by voltmeter. But suppose if you have only half cell, for this half cell, how to define the electrode potential? So for any given electrode, single electrode or any given half cell, determination of cell potential is not possible. So to determine the potential of any unknown electrode, these unknown electrodes should be coupled with a non-electrode, and that non-electron is known as standard electrode. Now for this, the reference use is, so for any single electrode, determination of standard electron potential is not possible. So always we have to couple with this a standard reference electrode. Now to define this standard cell electrode potential, we have an electron C electrode or NHE electrode. This C stands for standard hydrogen electrode. Standard hydrogen electrode or NHE, normal hydrogen electrode. So let's see what is standard or normal hydrogen electrodes. So hydrogen electrode means we have this hydrogen gas. Look at this. This can act as a cathode or this can act as an anode. So now look at this. We can have this platinum solid in contact with hydrogen gas in contact with H plus ion solution. So look at this, 0 to plus 1. So this is when this is acting as an anode, or this can also be written as H plus ion in contact with hydrogen gas in contact with platinum solid. So this is when act as a cathode. So this is half cell. This is not a complete cell. This is half cell. So now look at this. In this case, what is happening is hydrogen gas is converting into plus 2 electron is released here, or if we have this acting as a cathode, this can be written as 2H plus N plus 2 electron, and this will give you hydrogen. Now whether this acts as an anode or cathode, this standard means gas under standard condition, means temperature is 298 Kelvin, pressure of hydrogen gas is taken as 1 atm, concentration of H plus ion is taken as 1 molar. So under this condition, look at this potential E half cell standard, this is equals to, this is reduction potential to E naught H plus plus. So this potential is always assigned a value of 0.04. So now look at this very carefully. Standard hydrogen electrode or normal hydrogen electrode. This is the representation of electrode, whether when this is acting as an anode or when this acts as a cathode. So under standard conditions, we given value standard electrode potential of this hydrogen electrode is always assigned a value of 0. So we have to keep this thing in mind. So standard reduction potential of hydrogen electrode is always assigned a value of 0. Arbitrarily this is assigned a value of 0. So since the standard electrode potential of hydrogen electrode is always assigned a value of 0, so if we couple this standard or normal hydrogen electrode with any unknown electrode, the potential difference developed will be the potential of the unknown electrodes. So now let's see how. So I hope you got this point. So to define standard reduction potential of any unknown electrode, this has to be coupled with standard hydrogen electrode. Now look at this. Now we have to find this reduction potential of Now we have to define this reduction potential of magnesium. Now we have to define the reduction potential of magnesium plus 2 magnesium. So we have magnesium plus 2 electrode. For this electrode we have to define what is the standard reduction potential of magnesium electrode. So what we can do is we have to couple this. So either we can do in this way. We have this hydrogen electrode. So look at this, we have platinum in contact with hydrogen gas in contact with H plus ion. Then we have magnesium plus 2 in contact with magnesium. So now look at this, we have to define the reduction potential of this electrode, and to define this electrode is coupled with hydrogen. So since this is the reaction, so for this look at this cell reaction. Cell reaction is we have hydrogen gas getting oxidized to give you 2H plus and plus 2 electron. This is anode, and at cathode we have, look at this, magnesium plus 2 electron giving you magnesium solid. So we have this, the net cell reaction is we have hydrogen gas plus Mg2 plus gives you 2H plus and plus Mg. So this is the net cell reaction. Now look at this is anode, this is cathode. Now we have to define standard reduction potential. Standard reduction potential of the cell is equals to standard reduction potential of cathode minus standard reduction potential of anode. Cathode is magnesium ion. So Mg plus 2 to Mg minus E naught H plus 2. Now we have defined this value. This standard reduction potential of hydrogen is always assigned a value 0. So therefore this E naught cell that we have measured is equals to the standard reduction potential of the unknown electrode, that is the magnesium electrode. So this is how we define or measure the standard electrode potential of any unknown electrode by coupling with standard hydrogen electrode, whose value is always assigned a value of 0. So this is the way by which we can measure the standard electrode potential of any given electrode. Now based on this value may be positive or maybe negative. So once we have this standard reduction potential of all these electrodes, these potentials are arranged in increasing or decreasing order with reference to this hydrogen electrodes. So this arrangement of electrodes is what forms a series which is known as electrochemical series. So let me explain what is electrochemical series.